Hi, we all knew this day was coming. Volkswagen is sued because of their capacitive buttons on their steering wheel. In the USA, a class action lawsuit has now been filed by people. They are representing a broader group of people who are also contributing to the lawsuit with their own accidents. They are claiming capacitive buttons are very hard to use while driving the car. You can touch the wrong button, or in the Volkswagen's case, it is also very easy to mistouch. People are claiming while driving the car it is so easy to slightly touch the buttons. The problem is some of those buttons change the car's behavior. There are adaptive cruise control buttons there. Two main people who started the lawsuit reports that because of a mistouch to the adaptive cruise control button, they crashed their cars and had minor injuries. One interesting thing is Volkswagen already knew this would be a problem, because last year they stated that they are moving away from capacitive buttons and they are going to make sure the new cars are going to come with physical buttons. They also said this is what people want. Was it so hard to come up with that, Volkswagen? Yes, I agree, people just want physical buttons. There is nearly no car brand left with physical buttons, only Toyota and Mazda and Porsche. Yes, these are big brands, but I don't get why 90% of the cars now don't have any buttons at all, other than the mandatory ones like hazard lights or gear selectors, but some cars don't even have the stalks right now. You can't even give a turn signal without the touch button. How is this allowed in a world with this much rules is just beyond me. This is a very easy biology. You see, we only have two eyes and they most of the time look to the same spot. So you can't just look away from the road to a capacitive button. You can't see the touch screen where you are touching at. So I need some feel and feedback, you know. You can say just memorize where the buttons are. Well, you see, I also don't know where my hands are most of the time. I can predict it, but your buttons are too small for me to just exactly predict where I'm pressing at. So this is the explanation. This 30-second explanation is enough for most brands to switch back to the physical buttons. Somehow they are not doing it, and they are now getting class action lawsuits, which they should. They really should. Volkswagen, come here. Okay, I just need some insider information from this. How much money are you saving from those capacitive buttons? Because we know this is all about money, okay? It is not just about the looks. It is not just about the futuristic looks. Those physical buttons are costing slightly more and they are slightly harder to manufacture, but all of you are big car brands. You are getting them in bulk. How much are you saving per car? Is it $1, $2? These are $40,000 cars. They are starting from that price. How about you just don't do those cuts, okay? And if you have really big reasons behind it, just tell me, just email me how much money you are making from these decisions. Because if it is a big money, you know, I am going to apologize to you. If it is $1,000 saving here, I'm going to apologize. I'm going to just say, whoa, you were right. This is just too much money. I don't want to give $1,000 just because of a physical button. You know, we should actually give that money to the cars because we should have regulations about this safety, you know, just we talked about them. But if it is $1,000, I can just at least sleep. You know, then nobody has to really worry about this because we are just going to have an answer. At this time, it just seems like pennies to me. You know, every time I use the recirculation button in my car, it is just so smooth. I just know a truck is in front of me and it is just bursting this black smoke to me. Without even looking, I just hit that recirculation button and I don't get any of that black smoke in my car. It is just a fulfilling experience, you know. Most of the cars don't come with that button anymore. It is just in the touch screen or in the menus. Or some cars come with it, but it is still a touch button, a capacitive button. So you just don't know what you are hitting at. One of the worst ones in the industry right now is the Volvo's interiors, which was also my first video on this channel. They are going for this extra minimalism feature. It is really the worst. I already talked about it, go watch that video if you want. But there's just this single example there. Their window buttons is 3 instead of a 4. There's now only 2 buttons that control the front windows and the third button switches to the back windows. I'm still saying who designed that and who approved that should be fired immediately. There's no discussion about this. That is one of the worst ideas I've ever seen. And some cars are coming with the speedometers in the screens now. To see your speed, you should look away from the road. I don't know, maybe some capacitive buttons can pass this feeling test. You know, if they have their individual places and feels, like one has rounded corners and another have these edges, and with great haptic feedback, with really dedicated big spaces, maybe you can pull that off. Also in the Volkswagen's case, they shouldn't just unintentionally activate. And that's about it. This was a dumb idea. Let's move away from it. But coincidentally, Volkswagen also did another mishap this week. I don't know if we can call a mishap to an intentional decision. They are looking away some of their new car's horsepower, the ID3. To use the last 27 horsepower of your car, you need a subscription now. I talked about it in my latest video. Go ahead and check that out if you want. Let me know what you think about the capacitive buttons in the comments down below. If you want to see more interesting tech news, please subscribe and thank you for listening.